Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep today into AI in education. We're going to be looking at Pritt Shah's book, AI and the Future of Education.
Okay.
You guys have sent in some really fascinating excerpts and highlighted some of the endorsements from experts over at Harvard. And I'm particularly interested in Shah's focus on the practical applications of AI. So I guess we're not quite at the robot teacher takeover stage just yet.
Not quite yet. Shah really focuses on the tools and strategies that teachers can use like right now. He avoids those kind of like futuristic scenarios of robots taking over the classroom and really grounds it in what AI can do for educators in the present.
Okay, so less science fiction, more practical solutions. I like that.
Yeah.
I have to admit, though, I'm still a bit fuzzy on how all of this AI stuff actually works.
Sure.
I get the basic concept, but I'm not a programmer.
And that's where Shah's emphasis on data comes in. He explains that AI, in its current form, learns from these massive data sets.
Right.
So it's kind of like training a student, but instead of textbooks and lectures, you're feeding the AI mountains of information. And the way it learns can actually vary.
So it's not just like a one-size-fits-all
yeah.
approach to how the AI learns.
No, not at all. Shah breaks down several learning styles, like supervised learning, where the AI learns from labeled data. It's almost like a teacher guiding it. And then there's unsupervised learning, where the AI is on its own and it's trying to identify patterns and relationships in the data. Imagine giving a student a giant jigsaw puzzle, but with no picture on the box.
Yeah, that sounds like a real challenge. I can barely handle a jigsaw puzzle with a picture.
Right.
But okay, so how does all this translate to the tools that teachers can actually use?
Well, Shah highlights this thing called deep learning, which uses artificial neural networks to process information. It's kind of a complex concept, but think of it as this network of interconnected nodes. And each one is processing a small piece of that puzzle, almost like a team of students working together on a project. And this is what allows AI to do things like understand and respond to natural language, recognize images, even compose music.
Okay, so we've got these complex systems that are learning from data. What are some of the real-world applications for teachers? Is this all about just automating tasks, or is there more to it?
I think Shah argues that it's much more than just automation.
Okay.
He dives into this thing called generative AI, and this is where things get really interesting. We're talking about AI that can actually create new content, not just analyze existing information.
Hold on, so you're talking about AI that can write poems, compose music, maybe even design a lesson plan.
You're getting it. And Shah provides these amazing examples of what generative AI can do. Like image synthesis, where you describe a historical scene to an AI and it generates a photorealistic image that your students can then explore. Or using AI to create these wild
custom audio recordings of textbook chapters for students who learn best by listening.
That's incredible. It sounds like there's so much potential there for creativity and engagement.
Yeah.
But there's also this idea of hallucination that we talked about earlier.
Right.
Doesn't that raise some concerns about the accuracy of what AI is producing?
It does. Hallucination is this interesting thing where AI makes things up, potentially, because it's trying to fill in gaps in its knowledge.
Right.
And it can happen when the AI is asked to do something outside of its training data or when it misinterprets the information it's given.
So it's kind of like asking a student a question about a book they haven't read.
Yeah.
They might try and bluff their way through it, but with AI, that bluff could have serious consequences if we're relying on it for information or decision making.
Exactly. And that's why Shah emphasizes understanding how AI works, its strengths and its limitations. It's a really powerful tool, but we need to be informed users. So we need to be critical consumers of AI, not just blindly accepting whatever it produces.
Yes.
So how do we make sure that we're using it effectively and responsibly in education?
Well, Shah dives into the importance of something he calls prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering.
It's not just about asking the AI any question. It's about learning how to ask the right questions, how to guide the AI to produce the results that we need.
So it's not just about giving commands. It's about having a conversation with the AI. And providing context.
Exactly. And Shah provides some practical tips for crafting effective prompts. For example, instead of just asking an AI to write a lesson plan, you could give it specific details like the grade level, subject matter, learning objectives, even your preferred teaching style.
It sounds like a skill that takes practice and refinement to really master that.
It does.
I can see how being able to communicate effectively with these AI systems is going to be crucial for teachers moving forward.
It is. Shaw argues that AI literacy is going to be an essential skill for everyone in the future, not just computer scientists. Understanding how to interact with AI, evaluate its output, and use it ethically is going to be just as important as reading and writing.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered some of the basics of AI, how it learns, the importance of data, and this prompt engineering. I'm really curious to dive into the specifics of how this is actually changing the landscape of education. Like, what kind of impact is AI having on teaching and learning right now?
That's a great question, and that's where Shaw's book really shines. He moves beyond that kind of theoretical and gives concrete examples of how AI is being used in classrooms today.
I'm ready for some real-world applications. I think it's important, though, before we jump into that, to just address the elephant in the room.
Sure.
The question that's probably on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Is AI going to replace teachers?
Well, Shaw tackles that question head-on in his book. He acknowledges that anxiety surrounding AI and job displacement, but he argues that the future of education isn't about robots taking over classrooms.
So no iRobot scenario where we're all bowing down to our AI overlords.
No, not quite. Shaw believes that AI has the potential to augment and empower teachers, not replace them.
Okay.
He sees AI as a tool that can help personalize learning, create more engaging content, and free up time for teachers to focus on what they do best, building relationships with students and fostering their love of learning.
I like that vision. It sounds like a much more collaborative and human-centered approach to using AI. But I'm still wondering, what does this actually look like in practice?
Well, that's where we're headed next. Shaw provides this fascinating overview of the different ways AI is already being used in schools, from personalized learning platforms to AI-powered tutoring systems.
All right, this is where I get really excited. Let's dive into those examples and see how AI is transforming education right now.
So let's pick up where we left off and explore some of these real-world applications that are shaping the education landscape. One area where AI is making a significant impact is in intelligent tutoring systems, or ITIs.
Okay, ITIs, I've heard a little about those, but I always kind of imagined it as pretty basic software. Is that still the case, or has AI kind of changed the game a bit?
Oh, AI has definitely taken ITES to a whole new level. Imagine software that acts like a personal tutor for each student. It can track their progress, identify areas where they're struggling, and provide that tailored feedback and support in real time.
So instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, each student gets a learning experience that's customized to their needs.
Exactly.
That sounds incredibly beneficial, especially for students who might be falling behind or need a little extra support. Are there any examples of ITIs being used effectively in classrooms today?
Absolutely. Shaw mentions several examples, including Khan Academy's Khanmigo.
Okay.
It's designed to be a collaborative learning companion. It helps students work through problems, provides guidance, rather than just giving them the answers.
Okay.
Another example is Google's Socratic.
Right.
It uses AI to help students understand their schoolwork by analyzing their questions and providing explanations, videos, step-by-step help.
That's fascinating. It reminds me of those like late night study sessions where you're trying to decipher some tricky concept, but instead of frantically texting a friend for help, you've got an AI tutor available 24/7. It sounds like a game changer for students.
Yeah, it really does have that potential to transform how students learn. And what's even more exciting is that these systems are constantly learning and improving as they interact with more students and gather more data.
Okay, so we've got AI tutors that can provide personalized support. What about those of us who aren't quite ready to implement a full-fledged IT system in our classrooms? Are there smaller, more manageable ways to integrate AI into our teaching?
Absolutely. Shaw emphasizes that you don't need to overhaul your entire teaching approach to benefit from AI. Even simple tools can make a big difference. One example he highlights is the use of AI for creating personalized learning pathways.
Personalized learning pathways. I've heard the term before, but to be honest, it always sounded a bit abstract to me. Can you break it down in practical terms?
Think of it this way. Traditionally, we've often used a one-size-fits-all approach to education with every student in a class following the same textbook and curriculum. Personalized learning pathways flip that model on its head. It's about creating a customized learning journey for each student based on their individual interests, strengths, and areas for growth.
So instead of everyone marching to the same beat, students can explore topics they're passionate about and progress at their own pace.
Exactly.
I can see how that could be incredibly motivating for students, but how does AI fit into this?
Well, AI can play a key role in recommending resources, providing feedback, and tracking progress along these personalized pathways. For example, imagine an AI that suggests articles, videos, or interactive simulations based on a student's current project or area of interest. Or an AI that analyzes a student's writing and provides specific feedback on their grammar, vocabulary, and style.
It sounds like AI can act as a sort of learning concierge, guiding students towards resources and feedback tailored to their individual needs. I can see how this could be a game changer for teachers who are already struggling to differentiate instruction and meet the needs of diverse learners.
Exactly. And it's not just about individualizing the learning experience. AI can also help us make learning more engaging and fun through gamification.
Okay, gamification. Now you're speaking my language. I've always loved the idea of incorporating game-like elements into my lessons, but creating those activities can be so time-consuming, and sometimes I feel like I'm reinventing the wheel.
That's where AI can be a real lifesaver. AI can help you design and implement gamified learning experiences, from interactive quizzes and puzzles to virtual simulations and collaborative challenges. Imagine an AI that creates a virtual escape room where students have to solve math problems to unlock clues and progress through the game.
Oh, my students would go crazy for that. I can already picture them working together, brainstorming solutions, and getting excited about math. It sounds way more engaging than a traditional worksheet.
Exactly. And gamification isn't just about making learning fun. It can also be incredibly effective for teaching important skills. When students are immersed in a game, they're more likely to take risks, experiment with different strategies, and persevere through challenges.
It taps into their natural curiosity and desire to problem solve.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how AI can help us create learning experiences that are not only personalized, but also deeply engaging and fun. But I can't help but wonder, with all this talk about AI and technology, are we losing sight of the human element of teaching?
That's a crucial question, and it's something Shah addresses throughout the book. He argues that AI isn't about replacing teachers. It's about giving us the tools to be better teachers, to create learning environments where every student can thrive.
So it's about finding that balance between leveraging the power of technology and preserving the human connection that is at the heart of education.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes this conversation so important. We need to be thoughtful about how we integrate AI into our classrooms, ensuring that it serves our students and enhances our teaching, not the other way around.
I couldn't agree more. We've covered a lot of ground here, exploring the various ways AI is being used in education, from intelligent tutoring systems to personalized learning pathways and gamified experiences. What are some of the potential pitfalls we should be aware of as we navigate this new landscape?
Yeah, it feels like we're really on the verge of this major shift in education with AI playing a much bigger role. And as exciting as that is, I think it's important to approach it with a healthy dose of caution. So what are some of the potential downsides we should be considering?
One area Shah really highlights is data privacy. These AI systems are constantly collecting data about students, from their academic performance to their learning styles and preferences, and we need to make sure that this data is being used ethically and responsibly, and that students and parents understand how that information is being collected and used. It's a sensitive issue for sure. We want to leverage the power of data to personalize learning, but not at the expense of student privacy. What are some steps that schools can take to address these concerns?
Well, I think transparency is key. Schools need to be upfront with parents and students about what data is being collected, how it's being used, and who has access to it. There should be clear policies in place to protect student data and ensure that it's not being used for any purposes other than educational support.
So it sounds like we need a really robust framework for ethical data management in schools. Beyond data privacy, what are some other potential pitfalls we should be watching out for?
Well, Shaw also cautions against the potential for AI to exacerbate existing inequalities in education. If we're not careful, AI could end up reinforcing biases and perpetuating disparities between different groups of students.
That's a sobering thought. We wouldn't want AI to create a system where some students are getting access to better resources and opportunities simply because of their background or demographics.
Exactly. It's crucial that we're mindful of these potential pitfalls and that we design and implement AI systems in a way that promotes equity and fairness.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the human values and principles that guide how we use it. That brings us back to the idea of AI literacy that we discussed earlier. It sounds like it's going to be crucial not just for teachers, but for students as well.
Absolutely. We need to equip students with the critical thinking skills they need to evaluate AI's output. to recognize potential biases and understand the ethical implications of this technology.
It's not just about teaching them how to use AI, it's about teaching them how to think critically about it.
Exactly. It's about empowering them to be informed and responsible citizens in a world that's increasingly shaped by AI.
Okay, so we've explored some of the potential benefits and pitfalls of AI in education. I'm curious to hear more about the specific ways AI is already transforming teaching and learning. Shah's book provides some fascinating examples. What are some of those?
He does. One area where AI is already making a big impact is in lesson planning. Imagine being able to tell an AI, create a lesson plan on photosynthesis for my 7th grade science class, incorporating hands-on activities and aligning with next-generation science standards. And then within minutes, having a detailed lesson plan outline, suggested activities, and even assessment ideas.
Wow, that sounds like a dream come true for any teacher who's ever spent hours poring over textbooks and lesson plan templates. But wouldn't that make teaching feel a bit impersonal, like we're just following a script written by a machine?
Well, that's where the human touch comes in. AI can generate the framework, but it's still up to the teacher to bring their own creativity, passion, and understanding of their students to that lesson. It's about using AI as a tool to enhance our teaching, not to replace it.
So it's like having a super efficient teaching assistant that can handle the grunt work, freeing up teachers to focus on what they do best, inspiring and connecting with their students.
That's a great analogy. And it's not just about lesson planning. AI can also help create engaging learning materials. Imagine being able to generate interactive quizzes, design virtual field trips, or even create personalized study guides tailored to each student's learning style.
It sounds like AI has the potential to make learning more fun, engaging, and accessible for all students. But I can't shake this nagging feeling that we're opening Pandora's box. What happens when students start using AI to do their work for them? Are we at risk of creating a generation that can't think for themselves?
That's a valid concern, and it's something we need to be mindful of. The key is to teach students how to use AI ethically and responsibly. It's not about banning the technology. It's about teaching them how to use it as a tool to support their learning, not to replace it.
So it's about teaching them how to be critical thinkers, how to evaluate information, and how to use AI as a partner in their learning, not as a crutch.
Exactly. It's about equipping them with the skills and knowledge they need to thrive in a world where AI is becoming increasingly prevalent.
This has been a really eye-opening conversation. It feels like we're at a pivotal moment in education, where we have the opportunity to leverage the power of AI to create a more personalized, engaging, and equitable learning experience for all students. But as we've discussed, it's crucial that we proceed thoughtfully and ethically, ensuring that AI serves to enhance human connection and empower both teachers and students. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI in education. We encourage all of you listening to continue exploring this fascinating and rapidly evolving field. What are your thoughts on AI's role in education? Share your ideas and join the conversation.